You've probably seen those insane edits from famous editors, with crazy transitions, intense effects, and sound design that just makes you go, how the hell did they even do that? Well, what if I told you that a lot of those transitions, compositions, amazing effects, and more can actually be recreated right inside CapCut? Shocking, right? In this video, I've broken down 4 editing secrets inspired by some of the most famous editors, and I'll show you how you can apply them step by step in CapCut. It won't happen overnight, but if you put in the work, you'll start editing like the pros. So let's jump in and transform your CapCut edits to a whole new level. This video is sponsored by Epidemic Sound, the best sound tracking platform for every creator. They've got over 50,000 music tracks and 200,000 high-quality sound effects, or SFX, used in videos played over 2.5 billion times a day. All the music in SFX is restriction-free, so you don't have to worry about copyright claims or demonetization. If you're a content creator needing clean background music, or an AMV editor struggling to find pro-level SFX, Epidemic Sound has you covered. CapCut does offer some sound effects, but they're super limited. Epidemic gives you next-level quality, cinematic impacts, anime-style hits, risers, transitions, glitches, everything to make your edits hit harder. The search engine is smart, almost like an AI assistant. You can filter by mood, genre, instruments, or even vibes like intense, emotional, or cinematic. It makes finding the perfect sound fast and easy. I use Epidemic Sound in my edits to make them feel polished and professional. And you'll hear some of those SFX in today's video too. Click the link in the description and use my code VAZE50 to get 30 days free plus 2 months at 50% off. First, we'll add the clips and adjust them properly. Most CapCut editors skip this step, and that's exactly why their edits don't look clean. So make sure to follow along carefully. All you need to do is pick any Twixtor, preferably the time remapping one, and open that clip in CapCut. Now, find the beat of the song and sync your clips to it by adjusting the speed. This step is key to making your edit feel smooth and on point. Adjust the speed to shorten it and sync it perfectly with the beat. Now you'll see the clip moving faster, which creates a nice vibe, and it also helps a lot when you're adding transitions. Here, I'm adjusting the speed carefully to sync it perfectly with the beat. I'll just move the speed slider forward and backward. There's no exact setting for this, you just need to play around with it until it matches the beat of the song. Now, just like that, I'm going to repeat the same steps for the rest of the clips. And I'm really sorry for not adding beat marks earlier. I just remembered while working on the last clip. Now, starting with designing the clips, we'll begin with the second one. Take a screenshot of the second clip and open that screenshot in any background eraser app. I'm going to use a simple background eraser for this. Now, after removing the background, open that clip in CapCut and follow along with me. Now I'll add the same clip again and use a mask so it only applies to GOJO. Now, copy the clip and remove the background using the Quick Brush tool. It helps detect the character faster and makes the process easier. We're doing this to create a shadow effect on the character. It looks amazing and is super easy to do. Now I'm going to create a custom graph to add amazing flickers to the clip. If you're still learning how graphs work, you can use this made-up graph. It also works really well. this method, you can apply glow to any part of the body, like the eyes, hair, or more, and it works really well. I've already shown how to design each clip perfectly in CapCut, so I won't explain the last one in detail. It's super easy. You just need clean masking, and I've already taught that in the previous clips. Also, I'll be showing you how to reduce lag in CapCut, which will help you guys a lot. lot of you guys keep saying, CapCut lags so much, we can't even edit properly. And yeah, that's true. It's one of the biggest issues. But as you can see in this edit, I've added tons of overlays, and it's still running fine. So that means there is a way to fix the lag in CapCut. Let me show you how. First, you need to adjust the clips just like I showed you in the previous timestamp. Then, of course, we'll start with the first clip. So open it as a new project. Make sure to use the full length of the clip, whether it's a Twixtor or a normal clip. You can trim it just enough so only that specific clip is included, but don't over trim it. Since I've already shown how to add overlays, I'll speed up this part. I'm just using the same overlays as a reference. As you can see, I'm applying the exact same techniques I used before. Now, what happens is that you can add as many overlays as you want. Of course, it might lag a bit in this part, but your main project will stay smooth, so you'll be able to add effects and transitions easily. That's exactly what I'm doing here, and honestly, this method helps a lot. So if you love using lots of overlays, this approach is especially for you. Once you're done, open the main project and replace the original first clip with the edited one. As you can see, the result is exactly the same, so it's actually better to work on each clip separately. Just open each clip on its own, add all the overlays, and polish it before bringing it into the main project. This method helps you improve even more. Now for the shake part. I've already made a full tutorial where I explain this exact shake style in detail. Just go to the timestamp 5908 in that video, and you'll find the complete breakdown. Check it out to learn how to add the shake perfectly without wasting time. Now that I've added all the overlays and shakes, let's move on to the transitions. Open a new project and start by carefully splitting each clip. Now add the turbulent effect exactly like this to all the other clips. It gives a really amazing result. The wide angle effect also plays a very important role, so make sure to master it properly. Follow along with me so your zooms and transitions feel much more natural. Now, even though I've already added a lot of effects and shakes earlier, we still need to add shakes again during the transition part, and that's the twist. Molob shakes are complex, so even after applying the initial shakes, we need to reapply them specifically for transitions. This can't be done earlier during the effects and glitches section, because shake intensity depends on how the transition flows. Don't get confused. The reason we add it here is because after applying the transition, turbulent, and wide angle effects, we can clearly see how much shake is needed. open Epidemic Sound and go to the sound effects section. There you can search for literally any SFX, even the ones that are usually hard to find for AMV edits. I've even created a playlist where you can find all kinds of SFX used by editors like Molob and others. I've included 75 sound effects so far, and while there are many more out there, the most important ones are all in my playlist. I'll drop the link in the description so you can easily use it. Once you've chosen the SFX you want to use, click on the 3 dots and select Save File. Download the version you're most comfortable with. After that, we'll import the audio into CapCut. Now go to the Sounds option in CapCut, then tap on Device. From there, press Select from Device to add all the sound effects from your files. Now I'll start adding the SFX. First, we'll add it to the first clip. The sound I'm using is called arm whoosh, and you can find it in my playlist. Now I'll add another SFX for the second clip. This one is called Flame Fireball. And just like before, all the SFX I'm using are available in my playlist. Now I'll go ahead and add the SFX for the third clip. Now I'll add the Sharingan sound effect and adjust it properly to match the clip. Now I've added GOJO's voice, and I'll place it at the beginning of the clip.
新影流海領域海領域
大丈夫でしょ。だって君。
This is the last voice, and then we're done. I've shown you exactly how to use both SFX and voice lines.
弱いもん。
Since I can't play music here, make sure to check the final result in the preview at the beginning, the timestamp 1 minute and 42 seconds, to see how much of a difference the SFX makes. Now, the problem with the solution effect is that it fades out too early. To To fix this, we add a black screen, which helps keep the effect visible on the main clip for longer. Copy JVC effect 5 times. Now we'll add clips behind the character. First, insert the full clip. Then increase the speed to make it faster and adjust the duration to 0.8 seconds. Make sure to reduce the duration using the speed settings. Just like that, repeat the same steps for the other clips. Keep adding them, one by one, until it fully reaches the end. Now I'll speed up the clips since the process is the same. Now for the second one, you can choose any color. I'll go with blue. It's the same process from here, so I'll speed up the clip and then add color correction. It's gonna look insane.